Bedford Township Board meeting, March 19, 2024. Please stand for the allegiance. I pledge Phil, can you pray for us tonight?
Sure. We bow our heads. Father, we commit this evening to you, and we pause to remember all of our service people serving here in the United States and also abroad. We pray that you will be with them and bring them home safely to us. We also remember our police officers, our firefighters, our first responders who serve and protect us, and we pray that you will bless them and be with them and their families. And finally, I would ask that you be with the board members tonight and that you would provide them with wisdom and discernment as they make decisions on behalf of this community. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Due to the absence of Mr. Peroni, I will need a motion to appoint a moderator for this meeting only.
I make a motion that we appoint Trudy as the moderator for this evening only.
Motion by Bruning, seconded by Gore. Any comments? Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner? Aye. Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye. The motion carried. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Gore, seconded by Mr. Bruning. Any comments, questions? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner? Aye. Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye. And the agenda is approved as presented. Consent agenda. Committee recommends to approve and place on file the minutes from March 5th, 2024 regular meeting. General savings, pooled funds, and CD report from the treasurer for February 2024. Balance and revenue expense report for the period ending February 29th, 2024. And accept with regret the resignation of Janelle DeFels from the Library Advisory Board effective immediately.
Support.
Motion by Steiner, seconded by Janusek. Any questions, comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
I will abstain since I was not there.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye. Motion carried. Presentations. Under Sheriff Joseph Hammond.
Good evening, everyone. Received the stats for the month. Nothing in it that really stands out as an outlier to me for this past month. Couple comment on a recent case. Actually, was brought up to me just seconds ago as well. We had an interesting case this past week of a township resident that was ordering DoorDash food delivery service, requesting females to deliver it, and when they delivered it, he would answer the door and expose himself to them. Not that that's interesting enough, but he did that while face painted like the Joker from the recent Batman, the Heath Ledger version. So you can imagine the concern that caused and the reaction he got from those delivering food to him. So once we were made aware of that, conducted a search warrant, came to the residence, arrested him. He was still in face paint, even the next day. We did collect some other evidence. He was, like I said, he was arrested. Has been charged. I believe it was indecent exposure, at least one count. We're still conducting some further investigation to see what else may be going on there. But that was kind of our incident of the month, if you will. Any questions?
I'd just like to make a comment, Joe. I'd like you to pass on to the deputies So after last meeting on Wednesday, my kids came home all excited because they were down at a friend's house playing basketball, and there's 2 deputies coming through the neighborhood, and they actually stopped and played with my boys and a couple of the other kids basketball 3-on-3, and they were just beside themselves. They were so excited. So I like seeing that. I like seeing that they're in the subdivisions in the community. They do a fantastic job. And I don't know these deputies. I retired several years ago, so I don't know probably 90% of the guys anymore. So I know they didn't know me or my kids. They just stopped. So they're to be commended for being out there and being in our community.
Appreciate it. We really do. We encourage all the time. Be out and make contact with the community, engage the community. As much exposure as we can to show that we're not just out there to arrest people and take people to jail, but we're there to be part of the community as well.
That's fantastic. You can't do that writing tickets.
Yeah, I mean,
Great job.
again, I don't know their names, or I would send an email, pass it on to Troy. I don't know who they were.
I'll let them know, for sure.
Kudos to them.
Starting with kids is very important.
Absolutely.
Start at the low levels.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is public comment. Comments are limited to 5 minutes for board agenda items only. Please state which agenda item you will be speaking on. Go ahead.
Steve Selinsky, 4540 School Road, Temperance, Michigan, 48182. And I will be speaking on the car park and the cost estimate, just to encourage putting pickleball courts in. I wanted to thank you for supporting the pickleball community. Pickleball has brought our community together in so many ways. New friendships have developed, and families have a multi-generational activity they can do together. Pickleball is a fun and healthy activity that all ages can enjoy. I have seen people standing outside the fence at White Park wondering, what is this crazy game? Players on the court will answer their questions and will even lend them a paddle and invite them to play. Over the past several years, high school and college students, as well as several elementary school kids, have joined us on the courts during their summer vacation. The Township Board's support to keep moving forward on the process to construct new pickleball courts at Carr Park is truly appreciated by the pickleball community. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. I wish to speak to E and F. I've always been a supporter of the parks, and I still am. I don't have all the answers, and my ideas and opinions are not God's word. But however, knowing what has all been going on, I cannot possibly support the efforts that are currently there. And the reason being is that we have an awful lot of contention going on between the parks, the township board, the schools, and the immediate, the public. I'm not anti-pickleball courts. Every single church hall has one, at least one. They're all available to be used. The parks are to serve the majority. And what we're finding in the parks is that there's all these knee-jerk reactions. And the problem is that our parks over the last 8 years have not been what they should have been. They have their own handbook. They have their own rules. They have their own 5-year plan. And that's what they should be doing, is focusing on that. It has gotten bad with the contention between the township board and the park board. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but we can't take care of everybody, and we've got to quit selling our parks to specific purposes. You talk to people, they complain about 3B. You talk about this group, and they so this is where they're at. And if you look at the metro parks, they don't have every single park trying to serve every single need of every single resident in this township. And I have spoken with the park board commissioners, and I have said to them, you have a 5-year plan. I was told that the playscapes are falling apart and are in disrepair and dangerous. Our supervisor's department shut down the skate park, and that ended up being torn down because it was not in good shape, because it hadn't been overseen well. And it wasn't not by the parks. This was overseen by the supervisor's department in the previous 4 years. So it's gone, and those kids are mad. The kids need to come off the streets. I would hope our adults would know how to behave and to keep themselves busy if the parks didn't provide for their every little want and need. However, that's not what's been happening. And so I have asked the parks to consider taking a hold till the elections are done. I would hope that with new people in place on both ends, that there could be a better collaborative, that they could work better with the schools. The schools have their own dealings that they deal with, and the school does not run that the community ed program. That's why they need money from the parks. I think the parks need to develop what they want to have happen in their parks, have the monies, and start to develop for a millage. People need to understand if you want it, you're going to have to pay for it. They should be developing what they want for this grant and for the millage. They need to develop a Friends at the Park. They need to develop an advisory board for the park to help them with all of this. Your metro parks have not become excellent because they've taken care of every single individual need. And your schools, you can't just go play tennis on their tennis courts. You have to reserve them. So it's not like we have other options. So to remove the tennis courts is not right. And so I'm just saying I don't think the pickleball courts should be done. I'm not saying I'm against them, but Car Park is not where they should be. There's a lack of parking when you rent that hall. So all I'm asking is that we just put a hold, that you guys don't allow them to do anything more new, start any new projects, have them get their background and their information, and to start and work with them to develop what we need to have to make our parks. They need to consolidate services in their parks. So, and if the playscapes are bad, you need to get rid of them or fix them. That has to be where the priorities go. So the cost of these pickleball courts is extensive. And I think the playground equipment needs to be fixed and taken care of first, and the parks need to focus on what their 5-year plan is first. And they need to be acquiring properties so that we can develop these centralized situations, and we need to match neighborhoods with the activities. So right now they're talking of putting the bike path back in the back at White. So thank you kindly.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Josh Niedercore, 7948 Wiseman Road, Lambertville. One thing for the parks, obviously with the skate park being gone out of Parmalee, and a lot of these board members and even the park members want the skate park to be out of Parmalee and move to White Park or somewhere else. Why not put the pickleball courts in the spot at Parmalee where the skate park was? That's one option you have. And then another thing too, I just want to say the sheriff has done a great job. Thank you again for everything you guys do. They were at the trade fair. They did a great job interacting with everybody. And there was a little issue in the parking lot that one of the deputies actually handling. So, and yeah, I mean, it starts with the kids. It's not about handing out tickets and this and that and the other. I mean, if you listen to the scanner, they're obviously doing a lot of work that sometimes goes unnoticed. So I know sometimes they get a lot of hate from people about, oh, you're not doing this or not doing that. They're doing a lot. So if you really take the time to take a notice in it, maybe even do a ride along and see what it is they really do, and then you'll really appreciate what they do. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments.
Tim Paven, 6866 Pine Creek Court. Just up here to talk about the pump track that's been getting discussion. There's, I guess, some talk about maybe doing a dirt-style type pump track, and I understand that's probably in place of cost. My concern is in our area we have very sandy soil, so I was just wanting to talk a little bit more about what a pump track is and what they actually need in a pump track to make it work. So very hard surface, You need to be able to gain speed based on making yourself light on the front side of that hill and then pushing down very hard on the backside. That's one thing as far as the surface goes, but then erosion with our sandy soil. I fear that if you invest in a dirt track in that park, it's going to be a weekly upkeep, so that's going to be an expense. In a matter of time, if it's not sealed right with like a dirt tack or some sort of a beer label type glue to hold that soil in place, you're going to find that track just continues to erode. So it's going to turn into just a money pit to keep up on it. So doing it right the first time will make it last. It's going to make the community happy that the money that is spent is well spent versus just putting it into something that you're going to doze later on and then start over and wind up putting the asphalt down. There's many different types of and styles of surface, concrete being the most expensive, asphalt second. You could also, like European tracks, are going to use a crushed limestone. Could work. It definitely works on BMX racetracks. So something to consider. So you have water ways to get rid of that water. It doesn't sit on the track. It doesn't erode. If you have folks that come out from the community and ride on that track one time and it's wet on a dirt track, it's ruined. So you might as well just get the dozer out and go ahead and start working it again. So just because of one rainy day. Just wanted to voice my concern on it, my opinion on it. I appreciate the thought and consideration of the pump track. I think it's a great activity for everyone. It's an endurance builder. If you've never rode on one, they're a ton of fun. Proper equipment, helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, definitely recommended. But I think everybody in the community can enjoy it from very small to elderly. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? Okay, moving on. New business, vouchers for payment. I'd like to make a motion that the general fund, that the vouchers be paid is the general fund $363,935.15. Fire District Fund, $13,207.31. Fire Equipment Fund, $9,201.59. Downtown Development Authority, $146.60. Library Operating Fund, $333.36. American Rescue Plan, $11,668.50. Enchanted Forest Debt Fund, $63,080.63. Canterbury Forest Debt Fund, $21,026.87. Building Department, $809.91. Sewer O&M Fund, $458,265.72. Trust and Agency Fund, $565.75. Special Assessment Debt Service, $23,672.46, for a grand total of $965,913.85.
Support.
Motion by Hirschberger, supported by Janasek. Any questions? Will you please call the roll?
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruni?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
The motion carried. Next, the Monroe County Commission chip seal contract, Douglas from Samaria to Relk.
I'll make a motion that we approve the single chip seal on Douglas Road between from Samaria to Rauch at a township cost of $6,775. The remainder $19,283 by the Monroe County Road Commission for a total of $26,058.
Support.
Motion by Gore, supported by Bruning. Any questions? Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruni?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner? Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janasek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye, and the motion carried. Road Commission resurfacing shoulder pavement markings contract, Erie from Jackman to Lewis.
I'll make the motion to approve the 1.75-inch hot mix overlay on Erie Road from Jackman to Lewis. The township cost is $161,508 for resurfacing, shoulders $15,632, pavement marking for 1125 for a total cost of $178,265, and this project is all township cost.
Support.
Motion by Steiner, seconded by Mr. Gore. Any comments, questions? Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye, and the motion carried. Next is the resolution to approve law enforcement renewal proposal and the ballot wording. As you know, the millage money for the 4 extra sheriff deputies that we have runs out this year. This is a renewal, same mills as it was before, for the exact same amount of years, which is 5 years. So I need a motion that would approve both the resolution and the attached ballot wording for this proposal to go on the August 6, 2024
One
ballot.
separate motion or just one?
It can be one as long as it includes both.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the law enforcement ballot renewal proposal, the resolution, and the ballot proposal language.
I'll second.
Motion by Gore, seconded by Mr. Steiner. Any questions? Mr. Steiner?
So I'm thinking that the board will probably be all in agreement on this. The original millage we had for the additional police deputies, I sat on the original committee with Mr. Odell back when he was a trustee, and we worked with the Sheriff's Department very closely. We were fortunate enough to have a millage that passed to add our deputies, and it's too bad the deputy's not here still that was here earlier. It's something this community needs, and I don't think you can ever have enough law enforcement, but they do cost money. So the only way that we can continue with the kind of service we provide is going to be by adding this millage renewal. It's not a new tax, it's a renewal strictly. So just want to clarify, it is only renewal.
Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Ms. Jandasek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye, and the motion carried. Next is the car park plans and cost estimate.
Carol Laurie, and I am here for the Park Commission. I am pinch hitting for Chris today. He called me a couple hours ago, said he's sick, he couldn't make it, so I apologize if I don't have all the information you need. I'll do my best here. So, questions about the car park plans? You have the information in front of you, I believe?
Yes.
Yes.
We do have the 2 surfacing, alternative 1 and 2.
Right. And did you get the updated figures on that? The first one, alternate 1, from $315,000 to $295,130?
No.
Chris felt okay.
No.
Chris had done further research, and according to remove the gate, remove the fence, and remove the pavement, so the second, third, and fourth items up there can be done by our maintenance department, which will reduce the cost considerably. So for that first one, the tartan surface would be $295,130. And for the painted surface, it would come down from $245 to $225 and $130. $130,000.
If this goes through, where will the money come from, and when would this be done?
This is, I've been assured that we have money in the budget already set aside for it for the 2024-25 budget year, so starting July. And the funds, I believe, are I don't know if Bob can speak to that.
Yeah, Bob, can you come up?
The monies aren't currently in this year's budget. It'll be in next year's budget, but it's not approved yet. Budget meetings start Thursday, and we'll probably speak to the park budget the first evening budget meeting.
How much do they have?
Right now, they have $179,872 in the assigned funds in the general fund.
So they would need,
They would need about another $136,000. That was before I knew they had the reduction. And I'm not sure if there's any other site prep that needs to be done or anything like that that's not included in here. Is everything included?
As far as I know, everything is included.
So we might want to check to see if there's any contingency costs that are not included in this bid.
Go ahead, Joe.
go ahead.
With does this replace, so we all are in agreement, we all know that it's in the 5-year plan that each of the playscapes at each of our parks they definitely need attention, they need to be replaced.
Absolutely.
So does this tackle that problem at Car Park? Or is this just for the pickleball courts and all that?
This just takes care of the resurfacing, eliminating of the courts we have, adding a tennis court. So, and the courts that we do have then will be resurfaced and made into pickleball courts. So we have pickleball courts and a new tennis court in that area.
But
Where the
no
tennis courts
new
are now.
playscape area yet.
Pretty much the way we see it, we're going to need to ask for a millage to do anything above and beyond. So even our playscapes, we don't have money in the budget
Correct.
to take care of that. So we'd either have to ask you for more money or we'd have to go with a millage.
Right.
At some
and
point.
Each playscape we figured 250 to 300,000 or somewhere around there, not that much. There's going to be higher.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're about 500,000, and those aren't ADA even approved. The ADA ones are even more, so.
So we're looking at, without a millage, maybe tackling one, maybe
Maybe.
a year or every other year.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Steiner?
So Carol, so my question there, just for some clarification, we talk about the funds that are currently in the park fund, but I noticed that we also had in the capital improvement plan, there was a number request of $345,000 for car park tennis court repair. So is this part of the same thing that you might be looking at?
I'm thinking that's what Chris and I thought it was going to cost us at first when we put that in there.
Okay, so
So if we do that, then that number is for replacing it in the future. We're guessing that's what the number is going to be, 20 years from now if we need to
okay, so
replace
you're
it.
looking at this number as future,
Yes,
and this
yes.
estimate's going to give you
What we
current
start
day
with.
to get it replaced.
Yes,
Just want to make sure that we're talking apples to apples on this.
yes.
Because I know that car park in the CIP, there's just car park alone has, I'm just going to say, future with estimates, you're looking at $1 million already. It's 800 and some thousand.
Which is why we need to have a millage.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we would love to do, and hopefully we can find a way. But just the general fund and the budget alone is not going to cover it.
Right.
I mean, you guys realize that too, so we've got to look at options and we'll prioritize what goes first. That's all.
Okay. Any other questions? I have a question. This is just, all we're doing at this meeting is allowing you to bid this out, correct?
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Which one are you bidding out?
So we would recommend the tartan surface only because maintenance on that is much less. If you do the painted surface, every few years you're going to have to come back and reline it, or you're going to have to paint the whole surface. And we thought it would be less maintenance if we did the tartan surface.
So when you say come back, when would they have to come back?
You mean come back to
They paint it.
repaint it? The painting is like every 2 years for the lines, 2 or 3 years, and the painted surface might be 5 to 7, somewhere in there, I was told.
Okay. And the tartan doesn't need lines or anything?
Oh, yeah, it'll need lines. That's included in this bid. But as far as once it's in the surface, it's less likely to wear, so it will last much longer.
Because I'm just looking at these prices going, we could paint it twice. And it would still be less than the other one. And that would be at least, on your estimates, 12 to 14 years. I'm just thinking, without any money, knowing you don't have any money, I would do the painted just to get it done. That's my opinion. Any other opinions?
Way they can get bids on both?
I say we could bid both.
You can bid both.
That's up to them.
Because I'm
could bid
still, I don't have a problem with getting the bids. What I'm having a problem with is, and we'll get a better understanding when we start the budget stuff, and Thursday's our first meeting, and looking at all that. When you're talking, I'm just going to round it up, $300,000 just for this, and another $500,000 for non-ADA playscape for one park, and then you're talking another $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 for each park after that. I mean, we're talking not million, but millions by the time we're said and done with all the parks.
Right.
So I'm fine with getting the bids. I'd like to see all the numbers, factual numbers, but I am really waiting until Thursday and when we kick off our budget stuff and we're starting to have a better picture.
One thing to make sure we ask is any kind of warranties. Make sure to tell them that we're looking for some kind of warranty on any kind of work.
Right. Yes.
And if it's a company that is reputable, they're been around for a while, do a good job. I mean, they should be able to give you more than just a single year. I mean, paint obviously can get stripped off easily, but other parts of it,
Right.
we should get 2-3 years at least out of them.
I'll add something.
Okay.
And then also just, because this is the park board coming to us to send us out for bids, and they don't have to do that. They just want to keep us all informed how they're going with this. So to get bids, they can do it on their own. This is just keeping us in the loop. So that's why they wanted to do it.
I think this is a good guidance, though, because we've said, you can do one or you do both. I mean, that's strictly up to you, but we're willing to look at either one. I mean, you never know. Maybe the more expensive one, maybe you end up with a great deal, and maybe the lower expense one might be an average deal. So at that point, then you weigh it out.
Yes, I think that's what we're looking for, is to put out both of them.
Yep, that works for me.
Makes sense. I'll make the motion to approve for the park board to continue as they've been working and put the court improvements out for bid to their likeness of the alternative 1 tartan surface or alternative 2 painted surface or both.
Support.
Motion by Steiner, seconded by Bruni. Any other comments?
Just in future, since they really don't need our permission to get the bids, could this go into as a presentation next time? Unless it's actually need a bid?
I explained to them when they came that they did not need our permission to bid this out, and they insisted on putting it on the agenda like that, so that's why it's on the agenda like that. Any other comments? You call the roll, please.
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montry?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Janusek?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye, and the motion carried. 8F. This is for utility maps provided by Mannequin Smith.
Yes, we have been determining where we would possibly put a pump track or pump track skate park combination. At the last meeting, it was decided that we were going to split it, so we didn't do the whole project at once, which is going to reduce the costs immediately. They wanted to do a pump track. It was first suggested to try it at, to go ahead and get this information so we can see if it's feasible or not, to be done at White Park, back in the back where the trees are. They wanted to do a dirt pump track. I think the gentleman that spoke to us about that, if you could come to our meeting next Monday and talk to everyone, I think that would be very helpful. So that was one of the ideas, but they wanted to split it. And so we're asking for Mannequin Smith to do the topography and utility maps, since we don't apparently have those in the township. I can't believe they were never done, but we can't find them anywhere in the planning department or any place else, the building department. So Manikin Smith could at least do that for us for White Park in the back portion. And then they were talking about Parmalee in the area that was already the skate park, in that area in there, and see what we get back. Is it feasible? Is it not? Is the bedrock going to be a problem for that? Because bedrock does not shed water really well, so are we going to have standing water back there? That's an issue. So Manikin Smith could do that topography for us and let us know ahead of time if that's an option or not. We can do up to 3 parks, but we're withholding that third one because we think if these both don't work for us, we'll pick something else at a later date, or the next board will pick something else at a later date.
I guess
Is there?
my-
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
Is
ahead.
there a reason that we haven't considered putting the pump track in Anstead?
I think we said no only because that's like an entire new build, which means that we'd have to get in, it's going to cost more. We'd have to put in a parking lot. We'd have to do a culvert off
You
of.
have to extend the parking lot, and I feel like there's more than enough room in the middle of that walking path to be able to put a good pump track. If I'm not mistaken, there was, in the master plan, there was plans for, I forget if there was a sledding hill, there was something else that was
Pond.
like,
A pond.
a pond?
Yeah.
That was eventually supposed to be in there. That I feel like, and I would assume the topography out there is infinitely better than White Parks with bedrock and watershed and all of that, as well as I feel like we keep trying to want it to work at Parmalee, and like I get it, but now I'm very much in favor. I really like the park board looking at this and saying, let's hold off on the skate park for now, and recognizing there's a lot more need and demand for the pump track, and it's exponentially more affordable to be able to do that. Even doing asphalt, as Mr. Pabin had kind of, I don't know, he got into the dirt track as a, I watched the park board meeting, and yeah, it was that. I think that anybody that heard what Mr. Pabin had said, that's probably not a good move to be looking at this as a dirt track. So I just didn't know if there's a specific reason. I think it seems to me very feasible to be able to put a good pump track out in Anstead, extend the parking lot off of the current parking lot at Anstead a little bit deeper to, like, it's already there. There's already it exists. It's not new construction to do that, but I was just curious if there was a reason.
We were not looking at Anstead Park as it is now, because to us that's a nature area, and that's, that should remain that way as part of the oak openings. That should be a meadow kind of a thing.
Is that a nature preserve, though? I knew Wheeler was, but I thought Anstead
We
was.
we look at it as that because that's what it is right now. There are no other facilities there. There's no playground. There's no.
Greg, what you were talking about, that's the other part of the land that they own.
Yes.
So Anstead is one park, which was supposed to be a preserve, walking trail, but they own the rest of the land
Past the
behind the
cemetery.
cemetery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a farmer.
Which that's where I
That's
think.
where the rest of it was going to be, that you're talking about, the snow hill, the pond, all that was supposed to be over there.
That's what I think. Starting the pump track there or in that area, that there's room for maybe more. What I think Chaz was referring to is almost like what's in the metro parks as like, what are they called? Like mountain bike trails, or I feel like that area goes well with keeping bikes, and there's definitely road bikes, plenty of road bikes that travel north and south on Lewis Avenue. Especially if it's sticking with a pump track, I feel like that seems like maybe, I wouldn't say it's maybe necessarily the most ideal location, but I think is arguably a better location than trying to force another thing into White Park, or trying to hope and pray that it works at Parmalee.
Well, I think we looked at Anstead, but we looked at the park that is being farmed right now, the farmland, and we would have to put in a whole new parking lot off of Samaria Road there, and then work around the utility towers and things that they have there. And it's possible, but it's like a whole new park, and we thought that would be much more expensive than using facilities we already have. And
I would.
And that
I would
was
put
that
it
was
in-
the
I would
reason.
put it right in the middle of the walking
Put
park.
it in mail.
Is what I would do.
No.
That's what I would do.
No, we would not.
And I would extend.
We would not. We would not recommend that at this point. But doing it in the farmer's field is an option, and that could be our third option for
Do
later.
we have any idea what just the pump track alone, how much does that change the project if you're taking the skate park out and going back to an asphalt pump track?
We're assuming it's going to cut it about in half, but I have not talked with Asa about that yet. He's been in Communicado. He's traveling right now. He says he'll get back with me this week. And it's usually Wednesday he calls me, so of course tomorrow I'll probably have the answer to your question that I don't have today. But we're guessing about, 400,000 minus instead of the 800,000.
I would think, at least.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Mr. Gore?
So everybody knows where I stood on this last meeting. I didn't vote for the $15,000. I'm certainly not going to vote for another 10 or 16,000.
Well, and it won't, that will bring the cost down because it's 2% of whatever the cost is. So if we're just going for the pump track, it's not going to be the 16.
Period.
It's only going to be, half of that.
We can't afford to keep the upkeep on our parks that we have right now. I mean, we're talking $500,000 per playscape to replace, but you want to add something new. We got to take care of what we have.
Which is, and I understand that, but it was in the master plan. People asked for it. I mean, you said so yourself. There's a lot of people that are interested in that BMX biking.
Until we get a grasp on the budget or possibly a millage, we have to take care of what we have. We have to make repairs. We have to.
Well, and this is just for the topography. I mean, that's all we're asking to do on it is find out, map it out, show us what's there, the topography and that. We aren't signing anything for anybody to get started until we get this done.
Just my 2 cents. I'm not supporting it.
Okay. Do you have the money?
We will have the money. Let's put it that way.
Okay. When will you have the money?
It's probably going to be July. I don't think we can manage to squeeze it out of this budget that we're in right now.
If this board does approve it and it goes forward, where will you get the money for the track?
Money for the track itself, we're going to have to come back to the board and ask for money. Okay. We're good because even if we pass a millage,
I'm going to ask Bob then to step up. Is there money even in the future budget for $400,000?
I'm going to start right now saying that this project is not in the capital improvement plan, it is not in the capital asset revolving fund, and it's not in the upcoming budget. There is no money at all set aside for this. If this goes through with the engineering fees and the topography, that'll have to come out of the assigned funds, which will come away from the pickleball funds. There is no money set aside for this.
Oh, and again, we're talking, when that gentleman spoke on this, the meeting or so ago, he's talking that even if we approved everything, they're talking 16 to 18 months before it would get started. And so we know that, and again, what I brought up in the last meeting, $400,000 is now $500,000 with cost of inflation, cost of labor, cost of materials. All that's going to go up in 16 to 18 months. So, again, to me, it's about taking care of what we have now. I mean, possibly $300,000 for pickleball court to add that, and then another $400,000+ for a pump track, and we haven't even begun to get into replacing and repairing and keeping up what we have right now. It's a lot of money that we're going to have to spend, a lot.
Mr. Steiner?
So, in Ms. Hirschberg, you went right down the same path, and you got Bob up there. So I happen to have, again, I've got the copy of the capital improvement plan. I mean, yes, it'd be great if we could provide it. And you said it'd be half, 850.
That's a guess. Like I said, I haven't.
850, 10% overrun. Again, pushing $1 million. So we're looking at almost $500,000. And again, even if you could go through the study and the topography and utility maps, we would spend $20-some thousand knowing that we can't even build it. It's a very unfortunate scenario. So, and again, I learned more after the last meeting by also going to the planning meeting with the CIP fund and looking at those. And I thought it was actually in the CIP. And now that changed my mind that I just can't support spending this money when we don't have the money to build it.
When we were talking about it, I was assured that there would be money available. And they said, don't worry about the money, just go ahead and put it forward. So, but that was not Bob telling me that. Okay, that was someone else on the board.
Me, don't look at me. I didn't say that.
No, no, it wasn't you.
You look right over at me. I didn't say that.
So anyway, but that's one of the reasons we're bringing it to you. Plus, we wanted to get the ball rolling, get those utility maps and things done so that the next board could pick it up or not, because it's going to require a millage. I mean, that's the only way.
And if you do end up with a millage that gets supported, there's things, again, there's
right.
things here, there's things on the track,
absolutely.
And I mean, in the long run, yes, we've got the general fund, we've got the park fund, we've got the capital improvement, turf fund, all that. It's all township funds. It's overall, it's really the same money.
Right.
And we just can't spread it that far, as much as we'd love to have it.
I agree, and that's my problem. I don't want to put another 10 into it when I know we can't afford to do the project. I would love to see the project go forward. I know a lot of children would love to see this project go forward.
Absolutely.
But we can't do this project, fix what we already have, and keep moving forward. There's not enough money.
That's what the CIP is supposed to be for, in my mind. You're working with your budget, you're doing your repairs, and then future projects would.
The CIP is for projects you're looking at in 6 years. Mm-hmm. So the playscape, you need it completely
configured,
tore down, new in 6 years. You want to start budgeting in their CIP now. So in 6 years, you have that money to rebuild it.
Right.
So that is what the CIP. But you got to remember that money for the CIP is coming out of our general fund to put aside. If there's no money in the general fund to put aside, it may take 12 years. So we just got to keep that in mind. The money is.
And I think the board realizes that.
Do you have money for a skate park or for pickleball courts? You guys get to decide who gets it.
The cost is much different between the two of them.
You can get one, you can't get both, though.
Yeah.
Trudy?
Yes.
Could I ask Bob if you could come up and just clarify so everybody understands the real 6-year number within the capital improvement plan? If you could just clarify this so everybody fully understands how that works.
Yes. The intent is you budget for 6 years. After the ensuing 6 years, you can then build your project. Or longer, 6 years or longer. The intent is for major infrastructure projects, major buildings, major projects, and you plan. It's a long-term plan.
So the 6 year is the number, that's your minimum.
That's the minimum, and that is set by state law.
Right. And then, again, we've got, there's things on here that are out 20 years.
Yes.
We know we're starting to put money away, even though standard is 6, but if it's going to be
longer,
$1 million, then we better start planning 20 years away.
Yes.
But here again, we could plan that money, and 20 years from now they say, we're not doing that anymore, we're doing something different. But at least there's money then. it goes back into the fund, and you start from scratch.
Yes.
But at least the money is available to do improvements and projects.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to deny proceeding to move forward with the $16,000 for the original plan, and then the additional $10,000 for additional topography and utility maps as requested.
Support.
Motion by Steiner, seconded by Gore. Any comments? Seeing none, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Steiner?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Bruning?
Aye.
Mr. Montroy?
Aye.
Ms. Janusik?
Aye.
Ms. Hirschberger?
Aye.
Thank you for your consideration.
Wish we had better news on that, Carol.
That's all right.
Next up is public comment. Comments are limited to 2 minutes for each individual.
Gail Kane, 1056 West Temperance. Well, I'm a little disappointed. And probably because maybe you didn't totally understand what I'm saying, but the parks need to find out what their items are going to cost. And I'm sorry, they took from the kids, and now we're going to give to people that have already available to them courts. So I realized that what you were getting was just a bid price. I would hope that you would consider the same when the prices come back for the pickleball courts. I'm not anti that. But again, Mr. Steiner, you're running for supervisor. I would hope that we can get a better working relationship in the next round, because the parks, we need to do what we need to do. The kids that play ball pay. They actually, the ballpark at Car Park, those people have paid $10,000 to fix that park up. Maybe this is what we should demand of the pickleball groups, that they pay for these courts that they're going to be putting in. The playscapes have been, those need to be fixed first. There should be, let the parks make their money, find out what it's going to cost them so we can incorporate that into the millage. That's what they need to be doing. Consolidate your ball fields. Take that farmer's field and make it the best possible ball options that we have available. There's no soccer fields. There's no lacrosse. There's a lot of things that the parks cannot take care of, so we have to make a priority. But you took from a group of kids, and now you're not wanting to even let the parks find out what it would cost and where they could possibly put this. That was the whole option when they gave the presentation. So that's all we're asking, is that you let them get their monies so that they can find out what it's going to cost for the project. And they need to pull together as their own group to come up with the ideas for what they want to do in their millage.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments?
Al Pryor, 1167 North Park, Temperance. A couple weeks ago, I was approached by some residents, business owners, and others in the community to run for township supervisor. And I asked myself, why would I want to do that? Well, the thing is what I love is the township form of government. And I feel that there's a lot of things that still can be accomplished in Bedford. So I have decided to run. And I do believe in a township form of government is that we need to have everybody's voice heard. We need to be respectful. And people should be able to come up and talk freely. That's why my dad fought in World War II, to give people those freedoms to do that. So I'm looking forward to doing many other good things in Bedford. I've brought different projects into Bedford. If you've noticed, there's some route signs. We have our route signs up for our 100-mile loop in Monroe County, so we did that. So hopefully if you like to bike ride, you'll know where you're going now. So I look forward to serving this community for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments?
Lamar Frederick, 3254 Deer Creek Drive. Geez, after I heard all that, I probably ought to run myself. What do you think? No, I'm not doing it. I've seen that movie. I saw how it ended. In any event, I've been attending the park board meetings, and I've watched them on the channel. At the last meeting, I heaped praise on you folks because you started to look like you were approaching this from a strategic point of view. I would hope that you continue to do that. What is the strategy for all of the parks, and how are you going to help them? We can't do everything in every park. The playscapes, I heard Joe talk about that a little bit ago. Those things were put in 2002, 2003. They were during my term, because I lost a whole socket set while we were putting them together. So if they need repair, we need to understand what it's going to cost to fix them up, or is it better to rip them out and do something different? Those are strategic plans, and what is the collateral damage from another decision that you make? If you lose a ballpark, you're going to have people, out the door here. So you need to understand what that is, and I know I've talked to the park board about the same thing. Get a strategic plan in place, and then you know where you're going. But not every park needs to have everything. That's my view. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments?
Steve Solinsky, 4540 School Road, Temperance, Michigan. In reference to what is going first, whatever, back in the fall of 2022, they had a park board survey that went out to everybody. The number one by a long shot was pickleball at White Park and also pickleball at Carr Park. So that, to me, would be putting that on the top of the list, from that perspective. In reference to her talking about playing at the churches, there's only a very small crowd that plays at the churches, and they're only open for just a short amount of time, like once a week, that kind of stuff. It's not outdoors. It's not bringing community in. It is in a very small scale, whereas out in the parks, everybody's out there, like I mentioned before. They come up and they start asking, when do you give lessons and all that kind of stuff. And I've been teaching pickleball since 2016 in the fall, twice a year. And probably in that amount of time, at least 60 different people that I've taught, and many of them are out there playing, or they bring their families out to play, or I just feel that would be, seeing that we did have that survey and it's out there. Pickleball is happening. It's just so popular, it's not even funny. The amount of pickleball players to the amount of courts is a lot of way more pickleball players to a court than tennis players to a court. And in reference to what she had said about the pickleball players paying, so then do we ask for the people that are going out to the swing sets? Now, do we have to pay to go on the swing set? Do we have to pay to get on the trails? Do we have to do all that? Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Comments from board. Mr. Bruning?
Oh, what do we have? As far as Carol, it's going to be one or the other. You just have to take that back to the park board. So we can go forward with the skate, pump track, or the pickleball, whatever you guys want to do with that. We don't have money for both, though. I'd like to congratulate my son, Jacob Bruning. That's why I wasn't here last meeting. Completed boot camp down at Paris Island, the real boot camp, not Hollywood, where Joe went. So he is a real Marine. Joe's a Hollywood Marine. I'm a real Marine also. So congratulations to my oldest son, Jacob. He's now a Marine. I took him to the airport this morning to complete his training at Camp Geiger. I don't have any information yet tonight, but the Bedford girls basketball is competing for states there, the Elite Eight. I don't have any info yet, so good luck to them if the game is still going. Everyone have a good night, good weekend, and that's all for me. Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you. Mr. Gore?
I just want to again, kudos to our deputies that work down here. They do a fantastic job. They, bar none, they're the best. I love that they got out in the community. Again, I'm going to say kudos to them for stopping playing basketball. I've done that several times in my career, going around making those connections with the youngsters. That's huge. So again, great job to our deputies, the Sheriff's Department. I had the opportunity to attend some training Saturday put on by our former Chief Massengel and by our current Chief, Mr. Bob. I can't pronounce your last name. I get it wrong. I'm not going to butcher it. All right, so Chief Bob out there, and it was on active shooter hostile event response. Is that correct?
Close enough.
Close enough. It was great training. It was great training for all first responders. I even think some more administrators should probably attend it, but it was definitely a great class to attend. So thank you to the Chief and to former Chief Massengel. They did a great presentation. And with that, welcome my son home. He spent the last 3.5 years in South Korea teaching. So he is back. He came back a couple weeks ago, and he's here to stay for a little bit. So everybody else have a great couple of weeks. And a happy Easter.
Thank you. Mr. Montry?
Yeah, I would second Mr. Bruning's Go Lady Mules. Hamden Hod, I would have much rather been at that game than here tonight. But the other thing I wanted to say was thank you to, it cost us just shy of $30,000, but thank you to all our election workers we just paid for, but we had an awesome, it's not their fault. But we appreciate all those election workers. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Steiner?
Obviously, Todd, Joe, thanks for your service, but Todd, thanks to your son from me for his service he's going to be coming forward with in the future here. We all pray for his safety. We know it's not an easy job. Switching gears, I will say what Ms. Keene stated at the podium tonight, what my intentions are. But that's all I'm going to say because I don't feel in an official business manner sitting at the board, this is the place for me to discuss it. So I'm going to leave it at that. But I'll say Mr. Pryor made a good comment. Communication. Speaking in the tone that we're talking tonight, working together is so key, so important to what we do. Whether it's another board, a committee, a commission, whoever they are, we all need to speak like that. And now we can go outside of this community and we can only hope and pray that the rest of the world starts to do the same thing. I saw something on TV, I don't know if it was last night or this morning. I don't watch too much TV, so I forget the little snippets. But I saw there was someone from Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a city that is really struggling today. And this gentleman was, I can't remember what his title is, but it was some kind of official state title. And this guy, he's up to the nines in his gear. He's got his rifle here, and he's sitting there. You're shaking your head. You might have seen him. And I will say this, and this is for everyone here and the parents that are out there that you have your kids. You can hope that your kids are always doing the right things, but many times kids do not. And this gentleman was pleading that go into your kids' bedrooms. I'm sorry, people say, oh, I can't invade my kids' privacy. You know what? They are your child. And he said, go in there, look for things, turn things over. You will find things, and you may find a gun. And he said, because if you don't, there's a good chance if there's a gun involved with your child will be dead one day, and you're going to regret it. So it was a very powerful message by this guy, and thankfully, I know that we have issues here in Bedford. Every community has some kind of issues, but I can tell you right now, we're not Philadelphia. And we have to thank the police that are out here from the Monroe County Sheriff's Department and thank them for what they do and putting their life on the line every day. And some people may think, well, they just drive around pulling people over and things like that. But Joe's comment, the police stopped. They played basketball for a little bit with the boys. And like I said earlier, starting young, that's where it starts. And then they realize, because so many kids have been told cops are bad. And I know some close to home that we're told cops are bad. We finally convince them cops are good. And if you do the right things and when a cop tells you, you listen. So that's a little preaching tonight for me, but I believe in the safety, and that's how we take care of our community. And we need to also, when we see it and we see something out there, don't let it slide. Don't let it slide. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. Ms. Jandisek?
I just wanted to wish everybody a great evening, a nice weekend, and a happy Easter. That's all I got.
Thank you. First off, I just want to thank the board members. This was a very nice meeting.
Yeah, it was better last week when Todd wasn't here.
I want to let the residents know who are watching this that the Bedford cable channel is down right now. There is a part missing in the computer that runs that channel. As soon as we get the part in, it will be back up and running, and people will be able to get to hear their music again. But it probably won't be till about the first week of April. Cemetery cleanup is completed, so if there's a grave blanket or something you wanted to put on for Easter, you are more than welcome to go put your things on the graves now. Remind the board members that our first budget meeting is on the 21st at 9 a.m. That'll be with department heads. The Township Hall will be closed at noon on Good Friday, which is March 29th. I would like to wish my granddaughter, Adriana, a happy 3rd birthday today. And just let everyone know that I hope everyone has a very nice Easter. Any other comments?
Yeah, we also have to say or wish a happy Passover to the Jewish friends also. So we can't just limit it to Easter. So
there you go.
For all the Jewish people out there, happy Passover. Shalom, what's that?
No further comments. We're adjourned.